Everything says we're live. I'm assuming we're live. Alright. Come one, come all. Nothing but love, nothing but respect. You know what we do, what we don't, what we is, what we isn't. What we is New World Supernova here today, talking One Piece chapter 1011. Unfortunately, this week I didn't do a live reaction to the chapter. We were a bit busy. And unfortunately, even though I avoided spoilers, I could not hold off on just reading it. But we are here, nice, on this Saturday afternoon to talk the chapter. I'm Jade. Today I have with me Daniel. Daniel, say hi.
Hello, hello.
And just straight off the bat, as much as I love this chapter, screw this chapter because it ruined my power scaling.
Yeah, this was a bit out there, this chapter.
I'm sorry, I now give all the Yonko advanced, I give them all Rio advanced conquerors, and you know what? Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they all have high tier observation.
What do you mean by high tier?
I mean, not future sight, but the highest of observation you can have that's not future sight, because who knows? I know they've got no feats, but before this, there were no feats to say Big Mum had Conqueror's Armament or Rio.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm dusted. Which we're not in Act 4 yet. We're in Act 3. So do you know what? Screw it. This isn't what we have seen is not them really fighting. It just isn't.
Mm-hmm.
This.
No, I think, right now we're about to start seeing them actually fight. At least Kaido, we're about to see him actually start fighting.
Yeah.
I don't think we really saw anything. Especially Big Mom. There's a reason people were calling her Big Meme, but she was still a Yonko. It's we obviously hadn't seen what we could see from her.
Oh, 100%. First things first. I feel so sorry for Page 1 getting throat punched with Rio. Getting
so undeserved too.
Dude,
so undeserved.
Dude, the two most underrated Yonko crew members that I really like that just have unfortunacies is Perospero being blamed for Pedro's death, and Page 1 who's just doing his job, allied with the people he's told he's allied with, and still just getting he's getting team killed here, throat punched by an enraged Yonko. Not just an enraged Yonko, because we've seen Big Mom mad, and she's punched people before. This was he's a dinosaur zone. I better negate all healing factors and just throat jab him. Just take him out. Look, his neck snapped on that last page. That is just I would not be surprised if he doesn't get up for a while after this. For a damn long while.
And one thing that I wanted to put pages to is they seem to really make a big deal of the fact that what was the name?
Ulti?
Ulti. They seem to make a really big deal of the fact that Ulti was there and witnessed that happen, almost as if she can actually do something about it. It's you're against Big Mom. Is Ulti way stronger than we think?
Do you know what? I'm gonna say no. Although, to be fair, she did take a Thunder Bagua from Yamato, and like I was saying to you through the week, we don't know if Yamato's got advanced Conquerors now, since Thunder Bagua's an advanced Conquerors technique. Everybody seems to be just getting advanced Conquerors out of nowhere. What the hell?
Which is kind of annoying, because it's supposedly some crazy power that allows Roger to be the Pirate King, you know what I mean?
Or maybe not.
It's what allows Shanks to be a Yonko.
At this point, is it? We know that the punches hurt a little bit more. But we haven't seen how injured Kaido is really. He got up pretty clean at the beginning of the chapter. You know what I mean? He got up immediately, true. And he was just talking crap to Luffy, and just he's got a smile on his face, and he's just oh, so you can do that now. That doesn't matter. And
yeah, I didn't necessarily think it was gonna knock him out, but I thought it was a hefty hurt. That hurt a lot. I can't even, when you finish that round, hop on so we can look at the panels, because I can't even describe. The beginning of this chapter to me was... The beginning of this chapter was Luffy's using Rio,
and Kaido's using the Advanced Conquerors. And that's the reason they're not touching. Not because they're both using Rio, but you can see Kaido's got the Advanced Conquerors and Luffy's got Advanced Conquerors and Rio. And so the Conquerors is like having the lightning, but like Luffy's holding back the the Kanabo. And then it gets to the end of the chapter and I see Big Mom using Rio and I'm like, okay, maybe not. Maybe Kaido just has it and it's just like being drawn to be like, whatever.
Yeah, that is possible, yeah.
Like, I can't gauge what the shit is happening. I'm not mad, but it's just like, this, and I love it, but at the same time, I'm like, what the hell? And finally, my boy Hawkins comes back out of nowhere. What has he been doing?
Out of nowhere.
What has he been doing?
Yeah.
Dude. He's been, like, I can't even tell if he's been, like, trying to just take out the, samurai and, like, just taking command on the lower levels, or if he's got his own little group and he's sort of been hiding, just waiting for it to play out.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, like, he's just in the middle of nowhere, not fighting anyone, and then Kid runs past with Killer, and he's just like, ooh, I'll take a shot at that. But it's like, what? Okay. There's a lot to unpack in this chapter. We'll go through it all the way, but
yeah,
it's just like this does so much good and bad for my power scaling. Like I want to reevaluate some things, and then there are other things that I'm just like, oh my god, what? It doesn't make sense to me yet. You know what I mean? Like for the first quarter of the chapter, I thought I was reading a fan chapter because it didn't even look drawn by Oda, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, right.
All the Big Mom stuff at the beginning, I was like, that just looks fake, especially the Kid and Killer panel that opens a chapter.
Yeah, it looked pretty like it was strange. It was almost like you kind of like stepped into like Big Mom's little world.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Yeah, so Hawkins saying that he's got like a 93% chance of winning is pretty out there. Yep. And the fact that he had the gall to try and fight both of them, like he admitted that he would be at a disadvantage, but the fact that he had a chance,
I mean,
it's pretty crazy. I think we've been undervaluing Hawkins a bit. But then again, the fact that we've been undervaluing Hawkins implies that when Zoro was fighting Hawkins and dealt with him pretty easily, and when Law was fighting Hawkins and dealt with him pretty easily, maybe they're a lot stronger than we think.
Yeah,
but... And then, like, if Hawkins is that much stronger than Killer, then maybe, like, either Killer's weaker than we think or Zoro's way stronger than we think. Because we thought that they were, like, at least kind of similar before Zoro had Conquerors.
This is so hard for me. Because, on one hand, you could be like, Hawkins is talking crap. He's talking himself up. He doesn't have a 92% chance of winning. He's just being like, oh, I'm better than you.
But he's also, like, the most... like logical dude in the series.
Like,
that's his entire character.
And he wholeheartedly stands hard his tarot reading. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't expect him to lie because if he screws it up, it looks bad on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But like a 92% chance of winning. Is that like a 92% chance of you not killing me 10 times in a row? Or a 92% chance of, you know, I'm just going to beat you. You know what I mean? Because, like...
yeah, right.
There's a lot to unpack, man. There's a lot to unpack. In such a weird way.
There is a ton to unpack.
And I'm not going to lie. I was not expecting Killer versus Hawkins. Like, this seems like the most random fight. Because... it's just odd. And it's not even just odd. Like... I don't know if you notice, right? But Killer even swaps his blade in this chapter. He has it... originally he's got the blade going clockwise, and he swaps it to go anti-clockwise so he can gut Hawkins.
Okay, right.
Which is a pretty cool thing to see. But it's like...
yeah.
He's got mechanical auto-swinging blades, and Hawkins dies whenever he gets cut. Essentially, because we know he's got scrub tier, like, health himself. So, you'd think Killer would drop him, especially since Killer lasted like a good half an hour against Kaido up on the roof. Kaido and Big Mom. How long was that? Half an hour, you reckon?
Yeah, like to me, like the people on the rooftop were like the next level Supernova. Like,
yeah,
I didn't think any of the Supernova were on that tier, like anywhere close.
It's all right. All right. I'll go to the beginning of the chapter. Let's go through this a little methodically, and then just talk absent-mindedly after. All right. So,
yeah,
chapter 1011. Woo! 1011. Anko's standards, which is red bean paste standards, or like it's a reference to Big Mom. All right, in Okabore Town, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's basically saying Big Mom has standards.
Yeah, which we've seen your husbands. We don't know. I wouldn't agree with that, but hey, whatever. Someone needs love.
Yeah.
So we start off with Kid and Killer just looking off into the distance. We see Kid and all that metal he's been accumulating throughout this whole sequencing of Onigashima, which I've been waiting for him to use, and he's still yet to use all of it. So this feels like the biggest up in the air, just like, come on, you gonna do something? And he just keeps getting like knocked away from it, which is annoying. We see Big Mom charge in, and she's got a new homie, and
yeah. So here's the thing. This new homie seems, not only does it seem more powerful, but also Zeus is still alive.
Yep. So she's used her soul, so she can make more than 3. It probably just uses
a
certain...
So is Zeus the same strength?
I think the difference is... So she's named this one Hera, which in mythology is the sister or wife of Zeus, right? Instead of saying the same strength as Zeus, I would say it's different. I would say what I think has happened is Zeus is a thundercloud, whereas it looks like Hera is the lightning itself. You know? Almost like Big Mom caught a lightning bolt and like turned it alive. And so...
That's good.
And so Zeus is the cloud that makes lightning. Hera is the lightning that also like starts to form a cloud around it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it looks supercharged, and why it just looks so busted here. Which, okay, so Big Mom charges in here. All right. She's coming in, guns are blazing. Kid and Killer are like, crap, and Big Mom does a lightning bolt that's easily 100 meters in diameter. Like when you look at it compared to the size of Onigashima, it's like 100 meters in diameter. So that's a soccer field of electricity being dropped on these people.
Yeah, honestly, when I saw the size of that blast, I thought that it was gonna like take over the internet. But I've watched a couple of like chapter reviews, and I don't think people have been like hyping it up that much. Dude, it's a crazy big attack.
This casual Hera attack is equal to NL's top 3 lightning bolts. This is equal to his L Thor, just on a different angle.
Yeah.
Like, easily.
And this is like the first attack that this thing has done. Like, this thing's just come into existence and just immediately done this.
Mm-hmm. And I'd like to point out, it's not just like shot a huge thick bolt of lightning. As we find out later on in the chapter, it's made a hole through the horn into the skull.
Yeah.
So it's like tunneled through, knocking Kid inside the skull to where everyone else is.
And they literally make it like clear that the attack was like the size of the attack was so big that Big Mom can't even find where they went.
Yeah,
where they were
like I said, it's...
By the way, that also implies though that both Kid and Killer somehow tanked the explosion.
Yes, and
they were literally knocked away by it.
Not just that, I can't tell. I can't tell yet whether or not it's just lightning, or if there's also conquerors on it, because there's black lightning coming off it. And with the way this chapter goes, you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Like, the homies that Big Mom makes are based off her soul, right? We don't know if these homies have some capacity to use Haki if they're under the right circumstances. or if Big Mum, since it's her soul, can channel her haki through them. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, yeah.
It is. It's. I didn't expect her to be this high tier in terms of skill, and I've been saying it for the longest. Where I thought Big Mum and Kaido were just the physical beasts, whereas Shanks and the Admirals were skilled based. This chapter kind of throws that out the window, like a little bit.
I mean, that's the thing. She has like one of the hardest to use forms of haki ever. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. She seems like a natural machine.
I'm kind of upset. If I was CP0, I'm kind of upset I didn't get to kidnap her as a kid. Because do you know what? Yeah, put her as Fleet Admiral. She's rocking all kinds of haki, 2 advanced forms of haki, and has a devil fruit that can turn the entire environment into her ally, including making her immune to elemental damage that she's turned alive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back to thinking Big Mom's busted. Alright? I'm back to before Kaido showcased too much, and I'm back to thinking, like, Big Mom's on that unfair advantage. Like, even the fact that she's got a defense that isn't Devil Fruit based, that stops her receiving any damage while her willpower's intact. Which is arguably some form of advanced armament, or advanced conqueror's armament, in some capacity. Yep. It's like, what the shit? I know she's a meme, but she's like... she's a good meme, you know what I mean? So we also find out Kid getting smacked inside the dome has... I don't know if he dropped his guard to use that metal to defend himself, and that's why he survived that giant bolt of lightning, or if he's just got a certain radius around him in which the magnetism works, but the box holding Zeus falls apart. It gets too weak and falls apart.
Yeah, when I first saw that, I was like, uh-oh, did Kid just, like, die or get knocked out in one shot from that attack?
Mm-hmm.
But it just seems like, he's just not concentrating on it anymore. And it's gone, yeah.
I can't tell if he's not concentrating on it or if he's out of range. Because we don't know if Kid has a range or not. Or if he... Law's fruit requires stamina to use. Kid's fruit either requires concentration or you got to be in a certain area, potentially.
Yeah, like, it's possible. The reason that I say it's like, I just think he, like, lost concentration is because Law said, like, Kid must have his hands full.
Yeah.
And so that, like, implies that, like, if he's not really focusing on it, he's just going to lose. So I'd imagine, like, he had the box kind of in the back of his mind as he was running after Big Mom, but then when everything got hectic, he was just focusing on what's in front of him.
No, 100%. Then we cut to Law, Law and Zoro and Zeus disappear. They bail from the roof, so it goes back to Luffy and Kaido.
Which is, I'm pretty sure this is, like, very heavily leading into the fact that Zeus is no longer belonging to Big Mom, and he's getting blipped down to the area where
Nami's near the area
at least where Nami is. Yeah, so Nami's going to get Zeus back, and it is going to be a permanent power up, which is pretty cool. The fact that she's going to permanently have Zeus. Now, my question though is, like, after this new Thunder, after Hera was created, you see Zeus as the metal's falling around him, and he looks like a lot weaker. Like, he just doesn't look as intimidating. He looks So, do you think he's permanently lost a little bit of strength, or do you think he's still as strong?
I don't know. And in all honesty, it's not just a problem for me about whether or not he's permanently nerfed, because Nami could arguably power him up again with those lightning balls, those thunderclouds. So if he's nerfed, it's not a permanent nerf for Nami, I don't think. The question is his lifespan reduced and he is only going to last a certain amount of time? Like, how long is Zeus going to live? You know what I mean?
I think all of I think the lifespan of all of Big Mom's homies are linked.
So as long as Big Mom doesn't get her hands on Zeus, he'll be alive. Because she'll always have to have another homie alive to keep her abilities up.
I think, like, if Big Mom can make contact with him, she can, like, take the soul back out of him. But I think, like, if she dies, all of the souls disappear is my theory. But again, that could just be...
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna hop into some meaty stuff here, okay? Number one, Kaido gets up. Kaido's scraped up a minimal amount, but he's clean.
Mm-hmm.
He is clean.
Yeah, but at the same time, like he's been hit. It's just internal. You know what I mean?
Well, yes and no. Like, I know the Rio is supposed to be internal destruction haki, but I think it leaks into their physical appearance on the outside as well, like how fatigued and tired they look. Like, look at Luffy.
Yeah.
Like Luffy.
Luffy looks more fatigued, but like on his forehead on the left side or the right side where we're looking at, there is like a bit of a scuff. Like he's kind of huffing and puffing. Like Luffy is saying like haha, like full on puffing.
Yeah.
He's just like breathing heavily. Like he is tiring out. He's not completely perfect, so it is hurting him. It does look from this that he's still got like Kaido's still got the advantage.
Yeah, like Luffy's still on an uphill fight, which is good. Which is expected.
Yeah, which is good because Luffy's still got Gear 4 to come. Plus, you just expect him to get a little bit better with his new haki as well.
And I mean,
have to grow a little bit more.
I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not gonna front. This is Kaido here fighting, fair enough. But if he's also awakened, dude's gonna heal back up anyway. So it doesn't matter how scraped up he gets if he can heal again. If that makes sense.
Well, that's if awakening is pure healing for every zone. Like, we don't know enough about awakening. I don't think like. It's really hard. Yeah.
We're only going on those zones from Impel Down anyway, so it's but
yeah.
So we have Luffy charging here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Luffy and Kaido are doing the Conqueror's haki, like they've got it dripping off them, like the like the Whitebeard and Roger clash, which was it's they're getting serious, like they're getting serious for this fight. But then Luffy comes in with his right hand, and you see the Rio coming off it, right?
Yeah.
And it almost looks like, so Luffy comes in with a right hook, Rio blocks the Kanabo, but they've both got the Conquerors on them, so whoever lands a hit is going to do the damage, but Luffy's using the Rio to sort of like parry back Kaido's club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's if Kaido's not also using Rio, in which case they're both just clashing.
Yeah. So that's what I thought was pretty interesting, is like, it looks kind of like he's got Rio, but I still think you can argue that he's not using it. It's so hard to tell here.
So,
like, it's clearly shown that Luffy's using it, and it's clearly shown that Big Mom was using it, but like Kaido here, it's like he could be. But
so this is my point, right? If you look at the panel, top right of the page where Luffy and Kaido are like holding each other off, right?
Yeah.
Luffy looks like he's the one that has the Rio, and it's expanding off holding the club back. Then it looks like
the club is just hitting.
Yes. Then it looks like in the next two panels, the Rio's still there as Luffy and Kaido pull away. So there's almost like a little explosion of it. Mm-hmm. Luffy comes in with a right kick, and Kaido comes in with a club hit. Now here's where it gets decisive for me, because both are coming in with the Advanced Conquerors, but it looks like to me that Luffy's the one not making contact with the club. Like, it looks like there's a light. It looks like there's a bright flash of lightning coming off right in front of the club, but the actual Conquerors clash. If you can see where the Conquerors is clashing, it looks like it's actually hard up on the club, whereas Luffy's pushed off it.
Yeah, that is true. And you can kind of see like the tip of his club.
Yeah.
Like a little bit of sketching on the other side. So, yeah, that's true. I think he's potentially just not using it right now.
But if that's the case, then Advanced Conquerors can still parry Rio and not break the blade or break the thing. So it's almost like a...
Yeah, I would have originally thought that would be the case, because you are using your willpower to defend yourself.
Yes. But it's weird, because it's like Luffy using the internal destruction Rio here on top of Conquerors is just still sort of just... It's not negating, but it's equaling just the Conquerors alone anyway. So to me, the difference is he's using it defensively so he doesn't get hurt by the club on contact. Because you know, like Luffy versus Katakuri, you know when they were clashing fists and Luffy's hands were hurting?
Yeah.
If they were just using the Conquerors here, I feel like Kaido should be more adept at it. Arguably, you could say Luffy's got a better conquering will, but Kaido's been at this for a lot longer. So you'd argue Kaido's more adept at it, so it should hurt Luffy more than hurt Kaido. Whereas with the Rio here, that's the equalizer where Luffy's able to parry that back. You know what I mean?
Right, because he doesn't have to actually touch, so he's not risking damage.
Yes. But
whereas like Kaido, in a sense, is like he's not risking it on his club because I doubt his club's gonna get broken.
Yeah.
But like, let's say he was blocking with his hand, like with a punch.
Yeah.
He would be risking damage. I think it would basically just be whoever has stronger haki. Like if you're using Rio, you still have to have stronger haki than them to actually have your haki penetrate there.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would agree. So to me, what it is like if you're the best way to describe it, you're bare knuckle boxing someone, right? If you both punch fists, whoever's got the stronger punch hurts the other person more, right?
Yeah.
Now, think about it is you're bare knuckle boxing, but someone's got a needle slipped between their fingers while punching.
Yeah.
And they're punching you with a sharp bit, so that's going to hurt you more and not hurt them. So then what does the other person do? The other person puts on a boxing glove, and so even if you punch them with a spike, it's not hurting their hand. You know what I mean? It's giving that like protective buffer, but you can still deal that damage. But again, that's only if Kaido's not using Rio here, because it's still super abstract. Because that bright light where you can't see that middle section of the club, it might just be him having minimal amounts of Rio on it.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking maybe they can use this as like a... So right now, maybe Kaido isn't using it, but maybe he still has it. Maybe in a future chapter, Kaido will say something like, oh, so you're using Rio, right? I'll show you how to use it properly. And then he starts doing attacks of like unique ways to use it. Like he starts doing like Sentomaru palms and things like that.
See?
And then he's essentially like teaching Luffy, like unintentionally, he's just doing it to show off. But by doing so, he's like teaching Luffy how to actually use these like abilities with it.
So, to put it in perspective, right? Chapter 1001, the 5 people that Kaido had in high regards, the Roger, Whitebeard, Rocks, Odin, Shanks, and now Luffy, right? At that time, everyone was like, oh, so those are the people that have Rio, or advanced armament, right? But we see Big Mom have it this chapter. If Kaido has advanced armament and has Rio, which I don't have a problem giving him, it just makes the whole him versus the Scabbards sort of bad writing in a sense, because he's saying like, how are they able to pierce me? What is this? How do you have Odin's haki? You know what I mean? It sort of cheapens the premise that like he's getting damaged because he hasn't learnt it, so he doesn't exactly understand it. But then it just makes it feel like to me that he's never really had a genuine fight with Big Mom, because if Big Mom's got Rio, she probably would kind of like be doing the same thing as Luffy here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the difference is I just think Kaido and Luffy are just better fighters in terms of just punching.
Maybe.
And I don't know if Big Mom's homies would do anything against Kaido.
No.
I just think he would just tank them.
But like that's what I'm saying. Since Big Mom's got Rio, right? And even as a swordsman, as if she's not like doing what Luffy's doing exactly here, with a punch or a sword, and just holding off Kaido's club with Rio. You know what I mean?
So, I think that's what would happen. But I just think like assuming you put Kaido like a tiny bit above Big Mom, I just think it's that like Kaido can just like beat her in a fight, as in like he's just better at fighting than she is. Same way that like let's say Luffy could ignore the homies for some reason and had like the same haki as her, I would assume Luffy would win, because Luffy's just a really good fighter. Like every time Luffy has the same abilities as someone, like the same level of strength as someone, I always assume he's gonna win, because he's just like, he never just loses in a fight unless there's a specific reason why, like he can't hit them or he can't hurt them or something. Like
well,
it's just like I can hurt you, you can hurt me, he'll just win.
See, then the weird thing comes, so you see this like explosion, which is like the aftermath of their clash, right? You don't see any skies split, so it's not like it's not like the
there's also no clouds though.
Yeah.
Other than the clouds that are on those borders that are like literally moving away.
But
so it's like a mini sky split.
But that being said, there's two bursts of black lightning coming off from Luffy's side and one coming off from Kaido's side.
True.
So
potentially Luffy's using more haki than Kaido, but Kaido's just physically stronger?
yes. Like I'm saying, Luffy's using two types of haki here because we know haki's got a limit of some capacity, right? So Gear 4 runs out because he runs out of haki, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, you have like a pool of it.
So my question here is, does Armament, Observation, and Conquerors have different pools, different fuel levels of haki? So is Luffy using this Conqueror's haki here and Rio here going to prevent him from being able to use Gear 4 because he's not going to have enough haki to go into Gear 4 because he's using more haki?
Yeah.
Or is him using the Conqueror's haki going to be the way that he can fight equally with these people while he saves his Armament haki to go into Gear 4?
So what I was thinking was initially it's going to be Luffy can only use haki in base form because it takes so much haki in Gear 4 that his Conqueror's haki to Conqueror's haki up his Gear 4 would like make him almost immediately run out. So initially he's going to be only able to use Conquerors in base, and then when he runs out of Conquerors, he'll use normal armament to go into Gear 4 so he can just kind of survive against Kaido by fighting him in Gear 4 with Future Sight. And then once he gets his Conquerors back, he'll swap back to base form with Conquerors, and he'll just go back and forth between the two. And that's kind of how the fight will play out. I think like Conquerors has a different pool than the other two, yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense, and that would be good. This is... So, Big Mum's giant... So, okay. You see that...
Sorry. And then, to finish the fight, I think that's going to be when Luffy's trained his Conquerors enough by going back and forth that he can use it in Gear 4. And that'll be like, quote-unquote, Gear 5. And then that's when he wins. That's how I'm seeing the fight go.
That could work. Yeah. So we see this side panel here, the castle interior, Kid and Killer's location. So you see there's been a hole bored through the horn all the way inside from the lightning bolt that Hera did. So that lightning bolt essentially bore through, 300 meters of bone. I'm thinking as this fight progresses... So, a while ago, I thought we were close to the Flower Capital. Now, I don't think that because we had Big Mum still over the water, so we haven't even made it to inland Wano yet.
Yeah. I mean, as far as we know, the island might not even be moving anymore. It might just be stationary floating. We don't know.
I think it's still moving.
They haven't touched on it yet. I think possibly they're intentionally not touching on it to bring either just have it like wherever the capital out of nowhere, as like a bit of a surprise, or maybe even I doubt it, but maybe even they've moved to some other random place. Maybe they just go to Elbaf or something.
I think they're moving towards the Flower Capital still, because I think it's not something that Kaido needs to consciously do. I think it's like the immediate command makes the fire do the thing, and then he can change the command.
Set thrusters to this angle and just leave them. Yeah.
What I think's gonna happen though is very potentially. The Act 3 might last a while longer than we expect. Okay? Act 3 might end when we get to the Flower Capital, but it might be... Onigashima might be completely destroyed by the time we get to the Flower Capital. It might... The Yonko fight here might destroy this so bad that as we just get in shot of the Flower Capital, right? Whatever's barely left of this place is going to fall down and take out the Flower Capital, and I would not be surprised if Momo has to turn into a dragon form and use his ability to try and hold it up. You know what I mean?
Cool. Question: when the fires were being lit, do you remember where they were being lit?
Where the scabbards were. The scabbards...
Is that like at the bottom?
No, I think that whole situation was around level 3. So level 3 is where the execution platform was. It's where Queen and Hawkins was as well. So like the scabbards were up the roof, they went down to level 5 and then started running downstairs to try and get to Momo, who's around the basement. Basement 2.
You mean up to level 5?
No, because the scabbards were on the roof, remember? So they went from level 5 and tried to start moving down.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, yeah. So then, like, potentially we have from level 3 up is slowly being burned. We now have the entire left or right, depending on your perspective, horn from Onigashima blown apart.
Yeah.
Because the top got chopped off and then the whole rest of it got annihilated. You've got a massive gaping hole in the side of it as well, where the horn was. You've got a hole at the back of it previously from Big Mum's stab attack that went through fire and broke that tree down. So yeah, we are getting, and obviously the ground on the roof is starting to crumble and get a bunch of, and there's a hole in the roof at least, like one hole in the roof. So there's a lot of damage going on in this castle. It does seem like it's getting wrecked.
So
doesn't seem that repairable.
I don't know if all the stone's going to be broken away, and the only thing that's going to be left is the skull, and that skull gets planted on the top of Mount Fuji. So the fight is witnessed by all the people in the Flower Capital, but they're not in danger by the end of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like the skull is almost like forming a body. It's like all the Wano's standing up proud, and it's like a one giant figure. You know what I mean? And the citizens are looking from down, looking up at Mount Fuji with the skull on it, and all they can see is just lightning flashing, the whole island's shaking, and they're just seeing in the cloud lines at now and then like a dragon from Kaido, a dragon from Momo, Luffy looking like the fusion god, the wisdom god, Big Mum flying about doing her thing. You know what I mean? I can imagine a lot of like explosive silhouette panels of their perspective as they watch this like epic battle unfold.
That would be pretty cool. By the way, have we figured out anything about like what the hell race Kaido is?
No. As far as we know, he's human.
Other than it maybe just being the dragon, but when he's in base form, he still has.
Okay, but if it was because of the dragon, then why is Yamato got horns? Why does Black Maria have horns? Why does Moria have horns? Yeah. It seems like there's a horned human race out there, or an Oni race out there that we just haven't really addressed.
I think the sus thing is that like this skull has horns. Like, what if some crazy stuff happens where Kaido is like, haha, I'm actually like a 1,000-meter tall giant, and then just turns into essentially the size of this skull, like as his head. Like, why haven't they described his race yet? Are they going to go into his whole backstory in this fight, do you think?
Let me put it in this perspective. Big Mum said there's only 3 races she doesn't have in her country, or something like that.
Yeah.
So the races we know are Skypian of some variety, giant of some variety, and whatever the hell you're gonna say king is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That being said, it's like, does that include subspecies of like whatever Kaido and Black Maria are, or are they counted as some form of giant?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's definitely odd because we've still got king species, and I'm sorry, just like this definitely feels like it's gonna last longer than I've been expecting, because I mean, think about it, right? I still feel like the Big Mum Pirates are going to play some capacity in the fights. Like, we needed to get these people shuffled around to have a few hits in on Kaido and Big Mum. I still think Kid is going to have a major fight with Big Mum in some capacity. I don't know if Killer and Zora were going to go back up and help out against against Kaido and Big Mum again. But if the Big Mum Pirates show up, there's a few more commander level people there to give some of the lesser people fights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to even out the ranks a bit.
So then, okay, anyway, let's continue down, because we got a lot more.
Yeah. So, Kid and Killer are fine. They get up. They're just like, oh, Big Mum's not here. Let's start running and find where she is and go beat the crap out of her. Kid's still got all this metal following him.
Yeah.
And then, out of nowhere, comes everybody's favourite, Tekashi 69, I mean Basil Hawkins, the one and only snitch of the Beast Pirates, the number one kiss ass. You know what I mean? Hawkins is here. Hawkins is not only actively making his presence known against two Supernova again, which, I mean, hey, he didn't learn his lesson against Luffy and Zoro, so maybe he thinks he's got a better chance against Kid and Killer because, no 1.5 bill. But hey, whatever.
Yeah. And apparently he does have a better chance.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he thought he could take out Luffy and Zoro too until he got that bad card.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Hawkins is weird, man. Hawkins... We haven't seen what Hawkins is capable of. I've been waiting for him to come out and do something special. I'm upset we haven't seen Hawkins' crew. Like, this is a little gripe I've had, where we haven't seen any of the Supernova crews that have been present. Like, where's Apu's crew in this fight? Where's Hawkins' crew in this fight? Where's Drake's crew in this fight? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there's some easy medium tier enemies that you can have here. You know what I mean? Just to have against, like, just so you got some no-name person fighting against a name person to make it seem a little cooler.
Like, just show, like, Beppo attacking one of the people on one of their crews.
Yeah.
Just, like, for one panel, yeah.
It's all, that's what made Marineford really interesting, just seeing, like, the no-name Whitebeard pirates trying to take a shot at someone above their belt, or blocking someone above their belt and just moving on. But anyway, that's beside the point. Hawkins is here. Kids just immediately like, you've got balls if you think you can get in our way, you damn rat. Hawkins is like, Apu sold us out already. Defeat was inevitable. Resistance was futile. I made the only possible choice. So Hawkins definitely tried to stab him in the back once things shifted. So what he said to Law was sort of wrong, where he said Apu betrayed us. Kaido dropped. I surrendered. Kid and Killer kept fighting. It's almost implied here that Hawkins... Well, maybe not. Maybe it does still keep consistency. Maybe Kid's just calling him a rat because he's like, you didn't help out. You bitched it. What's the point of an alliance if you're not going to fight?
It basically just seems like Hawkins was like, yeah, no, I'm not fighting this. And then Kid was like, what do you mean? No, we can take him out. We wanted a Yonko.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we got literally 0% chance of winning. I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And just stepped away.
I mean, look, in Hawkins' defense, fair enough. In Kid's defense, your allies just being like, I ain't doing this, man. You clean, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because
that's the thing is, like, Killer is never gonna just be like, oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, we lose. We'll go with you. We'll get captured. Like, he's never gonna do that.
So Killer here is just like, Kid, go take out Big Mum. I got this scrub, right?
Mm-hmm.
Proud of my boy Killer for standing ground. But then you get just some of the absolute biggest shit talking from a character in One Piece. And Hawkins is good at this. He's good at just, like, he throws these numbers out that make him seem intimidating, but at the same time, it's just like, it could just be an intimidation game with this guy. You just don't know. You know what I mean? Like, this simplifies things. My odds of beating both of you at the same time weren't exactly in my favor, but me on you alone, 92% chance of winning. Get out of here, dog. You know what I mean? And not only does he say he's got a 92% chance of winning, he turns around and says to him, Kamazo, how's it going? That's my role in the tragedy of Hitakiri Kamazo. So he's crap talking him for getting force-fed a smile by Orochi. So he's goading him. And okay, so this is where I was talking. If you look at the panel above this, Killer's blade is going clockwise. You look at the next panel while Hawkins is talking smack and he's grown up huge. It's going anti-clockwise, like he's about to turn it up and just try and gut him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So,
definitely says to me that Killer's taking this fight a bit serious. Especially since it's interesting that we had Zoro have a story taking out different Supernova, and we might get a repeat of Killer doing the same thing now. You know what I mean? Like, so if Killer takes on Hawkins here, and then Killer continues through the castle and comes across Apu again, and because Apu's just apparently the most durable person here outside of Kaido and Big Mom, Killer might get a shot in on Apu as well. You know what I mean? So he's sort of following the same trend of wins that Zoro did in Wano, just late, which follows the same thematical storytelling of Luffy and Kid having the exact same feats, just Luffy's are portrayed better than Kid's. And if Zoro and Killer have that same rivalry where they're going to have the exact same feats, they both hurt Kaido, they both took out the same Supernova, but just Zoro looks better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be interesting to me if that happens. That being said, Killer, if you got projectile sword slashes, now's the time to use it because Hawkins is straw. You should literally wash this guy before he can draw a card. Mm-hmm. Like, this should not be difficult for you in the slightest.
Yeah, but at the same time, Hawkins is seemingly having a pretty good showing. Like, he's shown, like, bearing over Killer, which is, like, imagery saying that he's the dominant one in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying he's got a 92% chance of winning. Like, it seems like obviously, like, they're trying to build up feats. So what I'm thinking is Oda actually genuinely does want to say that Hawkins is stronger than Killer here.
Yeah.
But I think maybe eventually Killer will just win at the end, and it's going to be like Killer's big feat is that he won a fight that he only had 92% chance of winning.
I've got to say this. I've got to bring it up. Yeah. Hawkins has great support techniques, but Hawkins also has a card that we've had teased at the beginning of the arc where he said, "Oh yeah, if I draw this card, I will be exponentially stronger than my physical limits allow me." Now, everyone was always like, "Oh yeah, maybe he'll give that to Luffy, and that's how Luffy will beat Kaido, almost like a Shadow Man 2.0." What if he uses it here against Killer, and that's why he's got the 92% chance? He's got the heart of the cards on his side. He's about to pull Blue Eyes White Dragon and Exodia and just like win this fight. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird that he's gone straight into this variation, which is his pre-time skip Straw Man, as opposed to the one he tried to use against Luffy and Zoro at the beginning of the arc, where it was the chase one. You know, that bigger one?
Yeah.
And it's also interesting because this one here, we haven't seen post-time skip. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what form's better yet. You know what I mean? So it should be a good fight for a bit, but if Killer struggles here, where Zoro literally like was 3 hitting Hawkins, kind of making me feel like Killer just ain't on that swordsman stuff. You know what I mean?
Like, honestly, I just kind of feel like, I don't know. I just feel like this whole fight's just almost entirely going to be off-screened. I think that you're just going to kind of see like a victor, or maybe like 1 or 2 panels, like every chapter of it, like just at the top of the page. Just like, by the way, this is happening, and now moving on.
What would make this cool, actually?
I don't think it's going to be that major.
What would make this cool is we've only ever known Hawkins to have 10 lives. If he's got more than 10 lives, that would make this interesting. If it's not just like Killer can't just deal with him, it's just like you don't have the ability to kill me that quick. You know what I mean? I've got more lives than ever because I'm in Kaido's castle and they're all willing, all the waiters are just willingly giving me their lives, so I'm like on unlimited health here.
Yeah. Final thing I wanted to touch on was Hawkins seemed very surprised by the fact that Killer's still alive. Mm-hmm. Maybe Killer was the one with 1% chance.
Well, part of me thought that, and then the other part of me was like, well, why would he make it about Killer and not about Kid? Since...
Sorry, I meant Kid.
Kid. See, it would be interesting if he did that reading about Kid, because he's like, oh man, he's alive. Crap, I better check to see what his chances are of getting revenge on me. And it's like, oh, he's only got a 1% chance of living anyway. This is clean.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's jump into the page 1 stuff here. Number 1, Nami and Usopp fight dirty. They're going for the Adam's apple. They're trying to hit him in the temple, the jaw, They're going for all the weak points. And I mean, good on them.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do to win. But like, Page 1 is just like, he's just doing his job. Really, he's just like he's like Perisparrow, like I was saying before, where it's just like, you got to take these guys out. So like, yeah, I'll take these guys out. Just stuck, just being like, why am I getting hit in the dog spots? Can't I fight someone that's actually like not a piece of crap? Like, Sanji had more respect for him, and he seemed happier to fight Sanji. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even though Sanji would be doing a hell of a lot more damage than these two.
Yeah.
We have Otama here talking about how she needs to give that final order on the speakers to get all the people that have eaten the Kibidango to turn. So we've got small pockets, but we don't have all of them yet. That's got to play an important role before Act 3 ends, I reckon. Number 2, Usopp here has like a firework attack that looks like Kizaru's light lasers in some capacity there. That's like, whatever. Like, Usopp's kind of got some sick attacks. He's got the firework thing, which shoots out light, and then he's got pinecone bombs, which like actually blow up a significant area. Yes, it's hurting him.
He either does it on people that are way too strong than him, and they just get back up, or he does it on a bunch of fodder, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's all of Usopp's attacks. He never fights anyone that's like his level, and it's like impressive.
It's weird because I still have no concept of what Usopp has. Like, we've never had like a rundown of this is what weapons he's got and like what bombs he's got and stuff. All right.
This is just too memey of a character. Like here's the thing. Even if he straight up beat Page 1 right now, that's pretty impressive for Usopp. But he would beat him in such a way where he's like running around screaming for his life.
Yeah.
And then just barely be able to like shoot him down. And it just wouldn't. I don't think Usopp can ever impress me with a fight. Just because of how his character's designed.
To be fair, Page 1's just walking around here tanking all of this and just like, oh, you're kidding. They got away. And he's just chasing them down. You know what I mean?
If he wasn't an ancient zone, it's kind of implied that he would be like down and out from this. Yeah. From that attack.
Well, give it a second. Because we have Big Mum running side by side with them. Also, Prometheus here, literally as big as Kameinu. He a big boy. Yeah. He a big fireball. Everyone craps it but Otama. And then, apparently, Big Mum...
Also, I wanted to point out, Hera has been, like... Prometheus basically got Big Mum to specifically make a female...
Homie.
Homie. Like, that was essentially the favor that Prometheus asked for.
Yes.
It's like, can you make me a girl so I can have someone to date?
Not just that. Where is Hera?
True, she's not here.
Yeah, which... Like I said, if she's a lightning bolt, you know how Big Mum can, like, despawn the homies?
Yeah.
What if Hera is just, like, as soon as she's out, she's just going to be sparking out everywhere, taking out everything? Because if she's a lightning bolt and not the thunder cloud, she doesn't have sort of, like, a safe variation.
Right.
Whereas Prometheus can just shrink in size, which we've seen him do.
Yeah.
Also, like, Big Mum's got some weird mothering mode here. This isn't shocking, really. Like, part of me would be like, didn't expect this, but at the same time, Big Mum does have 120 family members. Like, she's got 87 kids. So, I mean...
it's just another big meme thing.
Yeah.
It's just... Yeah.
And Big Mum does have good morals, to some extent. She's misguided, but she's always like... She's misguided because she thinks she's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And so... This brings us to the end of the chapter, where Page 1's chasing back after her, talking about his Big Mum on her side, what's going on, help me take them out. And then you see this panel of Big Mum put her arm out, like the Gear 2 post-time skip pose. You know where Luffy, like, throws his arm out to go into Gear 2?
Yeah.
Big Mum does that, and you see the Rio leaking off her hand. Or the armament, like, the advanced armament leaking off her hand while she's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then proceeds to one-shot page one, seemingly, with a throat punch here. Not just one-shot, doing what Luffy's doing to take on Kaido right now. With an advanced armament Conqueror's Haki combination.
Mm-hmm. And sends him pretty much through the floor.
Yeah. She sends him down another level. So page one's about to go have a fight with someone else, seemingly, if he's not absolutely out. Ulti's in shock, like she's about to do something, but like realistically, what's she about to do? She ain't going after Big Mom. So is she about to go run up to Kaido or King and be like, Big Mom's turned on us? Or is that just going to cause too much infighting?
I think she's obsessed with page one, and I think she's way too childish. I think she's someone hurt Pei, I'm gonna make them Pei, and just runs at them and tries to headbutt them. I think Ulti right now is about to try and fight Big Mom.
In which case,
she's just gonna get completely slapped, or she's gonna be surprisingly strong, and then just kind of fight her for a little while. Then the rest of them are just gonna kind of leave, and it just kind of leaves like, Ulti to get off-screened by Big Mom, and then you just kind of don't know. Like Big Mom's kind of just like an unknown. Like you just don't know where she is and what she's doing. And then later on, probably Kid runs out and finds her.
See, this raises some interesting question, because even like pirate alliances end in betrayal. This has been hammered home with us since the beginning of the New World. Anytime any alliance is talked about, we're always told it's going to end in failure. Luffy's haven't, because Luffy's a G, but everyone else's seemingly should from that narrative. You know what I mean? If Big Mom takes out page one and Ulti here, and then news gets back, right? That could cause a little bit of infighting between Big Mom and Kaido in some capacity, which then could turn into the Big Mom pirates trying to get Big Mom back, having to fight their way in to get her, which just turns this arc into a bigger clusterfuck than it already is. Having Big Mom and Kaido against each other, their crews against each other. You have CP0 here, and you have the Alliance here. You know what I mean? It just makes the matchups even harder, because it's like, it's no longer just like one side versus one side. It's just going to be free for all.
Yeah, like we don't really even know what the hell's going to happen right now. Like, because like as far as we know, we could flash over to Marco fighting King, Queen, and Perisper at the same time, and like about to lose, and then Big Mom shows up, and it's like, oh wow, Marco is screwed, and then Big Mom just takes that King and Queen.
So the interesting thing is, saves Marco. The interesting thing is, page one seemingly down here. Pei seemingly about to... Ulti is seemingly about to try and have a shot at Big Mom, even though she knows she's not going to do shite against her, right?
Yeah.
Perfect opportunity for Nami and Usopp to get Tama to the stage, but the stage is where Marco, King, and Queen are. So they're going to trade off page one and Ulti for King and Queen.
Yeah, right.
Big Mum's following Kid. Kid's heard her, so Kid's like just around the corner here, so it'll stop Big Mum following them if Kid shows up. And Zeus has also sensed Big Mum and is going in that same direction. So Kid shows up, distracts Big Mum. Zeus shows up from the other direction. Nami grabs Zeus. They go to the front stage. Then you have Marco versus King, Queen, and Perisper. Perisper does something dog to Marco, freeing up Queen or King. They go to stop Otama. Sanji comes out of nowhere invisible. Got to save the damsel in distress. You know what I mean? So that's how I potentially see that going. But like, Big Mom's back inside. She's been sent flying twice. She really is the wild card of this entire arc, because she just keeps getting pushed around pretty easily, but she's still just as terrifying as Kaido. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's entirely possible that she goes to the stage, beats King and Queen, gets Perisper on her side, and says, "We're turning on Kaido. He's been a dick to Otama." You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they could make this. She could do so many different things right now, or she could just stay there, beat Ulti and then beat King, or she could stay there, start fighting Ulti, sorry, and then beat Kid, or she can stay there, start fighting Ulti, and then Kid comes, and then she just leaves, and then Kid fights Ulti for whatever the hell reason. Like,
Or
you know,
Big Mum goes to the stage and makes an announcement that like Kaido's crew's a piece of crap,
mm.
and it's just going to be her and Kaido teaming up, screw the crew.
Yeah.
Like she could do some really bad damage control for their like personal relations between the crews and stuff like that. It's weird. It's hard.
It would actually be really cool if about now in the arc is when other people started showing up, like outside forces started showing up, and it just became an absolute cluster of battles between heaps of different people. And then meanwhile, you've just got Kaido and Luffy on the roof, just like we're ignoring everything that's happening.
Yeah.
It's us two, one on one.
Yep.
And you've got like Big Mom's just constantly swapping between foes. You've got like Blackbeard or Shanks or whoever the hell rocking up, and just people just keep swapping who they're fighting. Meanwhile, you've just got persistently Luffy versus Kaido on the roof.
That would be good, actually. I'd be pretty happy with that. Although, I would like Kid to fight Big Mom in a one-on-one.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, I want Kid to fight Kaido, but at the end of the day, Kid's not taking out Kaido.
I think Kid versus Big Mom is coming. Like,
yeah.
It's going to happen.
I want it in a classic 1v1 setting as well. The same as Luffy and Kaido. I don't want Kid and Big Mom to fight, but they're both being distracted fighting like 30 other people while they're fighting each other. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, like, I know Kid's being set up as being like Luffy's rival and all this stuff, but to be fair, I don't think he's earned it.
No.
Like, I don't think what we've seen has earned any respect.
Pre-time skip Kid deserved that 315 mil, and I would say the pre-time skip Kid is stronger than Luffy, because pre-time skip Kid is no different to post-time skip Kid, because we haven't seen Kid actually actively use Haki yet. We know he's got Conquerors. Fair enough. If we see him use armament and observation, cool, whatever. We don't have it confirmed yet, but like, give it to him, whatever. But pre-time skip, he was doing the same attacks that he's done in the fight so far against Kaido.
Yeah, but at the same time, pre-time skip Kid has not taken out any major military bases. He's not declared war on the world government. He's not taken out two Yonko. Sorry, not Yonko. Warlords, 2 or 3 warlords. He's not like got all of these ridiculous feats. Like, if I heard that one of the rookies took out, I don't even know who the warlords are anymore. It took out one of the warlords that we haven't really seen yet. Like everyone's being like, "Oh my God, Kobe! There's no way Kobe can beat Boa." Luffy beat a bunch of warlords when he was a rookie. Like, can you imagine if like instead of like we see Cavendish on Dressrosa, when we meet Cavendish, we meet him as I once took out Boa. Like, I went to Amazon Lily, all the women attacked me because I'm a man, and I wiped out Amazon Lily. Like, they're still alive, but like I just beat them all.
Kid to me,
you'd be like, holy shit, Cavendish is a monster.
Kid and Kid's medal to me is Gear 4 without Haki. So it's Gear 4 like attacks in terms of speed and heavy hitting, but it doesn't have any of the extra damage that the Haki would have. So he's like discount Gear 4.
The thing is that we haven't seen that. Like, he hasn't shown it.
Oh, well, from what we saw against him fighting Kaido, in terms of how fast he was moving with the armor and how heavy the punches are, and like pre-time skip, Gear 3's punch being equivalated to a metal punch from Kid. You know what I mean? Like, to me, Kid's fruit just default puts him on like being reasonably fast and having a reasonably heavy hit. But like I said, we haven't seen any Haki from him, so it's like Kid post-time skip and pre-time skip is sort of interchangeable. It doesn't matter so far, right? In terms of pre-time skip, I can see him having a higher bounty than Luffy, even though Luffy's done a heap of stuff, because everything that Luffy did was like a tough fight. And like the reports were, it was a tough fight, but he, won in the end. Whereas Kid, if you took someone that had like a busted fruit that made them like 5th commander level off the gate, right? It's like, okay, well, just slap 300 mil or so on them and then just leave them at that. They're not really a threat past that, but they're around that level. You know what I mean?
My point being that none of his feats have shown that he was that strong pre-time skip. Like, he couldn't like properly Like, if he was that strong, every pacifist on that island, he would just be like, "Yay, some toys! They brought me some toys that I can just rip apart with like no effort." You know what I mean? Like Gear Four
See,
Luffy could absolutely annihilate Pacifista. Like one punch could take out like three
I would
pacifists
agree,
and
but you got to
only one of
remember,
the other two.
we didn't see Kid even throw a punch against a pacifist pre-time skip.
I know, but what I'm saying is like, he would have had way better of a showing if he was genuinely Gear 4 level. It would have just been like,
no,
I'm the
and
god
so
of this island.
remember, I use Gear 4 level loosely because the armament haki makes a huge difference to me, right? And when I'm saying Gear 4 level, like, you know that giant skull-faced mech
like,
that Kid made? That's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is that nothing that he's actually shown has been like you could theoretically say that he's Gear 4 level, and I don't necessarily disagree. I'm just saying that like he hasn't actually shown anything that's like really crazy.
No, I agree.
Been, like,
what
you think about his power and you're like, he should be strong, but he hasn't done anything that's that impressive.
Kid is tell don't show, except for post time skip, which is also show don't tell in a way. Like pre time skip, it was like, oh my god, this is Kid, he's so strong. Oh my god, it's Kid. Post time skip, it's sort of like we're still coming off that hype, like, oh my god, you hyped up Kid, what's he gonna do? And it's just like, Kid's not that good, you know, he got beaten by this person, and then Kid's like, no, I didn't, and it's like, oh, okay, then I guess you didn't, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like
that's the thing. Like he had less of a showing against the Yonko than Killer did. All he could do is kind of like suplex them with wrestling moves, which like wouldn't work on 90% of people. His punches weren't hurting, and the thing as well is like him being able to like suplex someone. That's purely just because like he's big. Like he makes a really really big arm that's metal, so it's really really heavy. It's like if someone grabs you with a really really heavy, really really big arm, it's gonna be able to move you.
I do not even expect any of those slams to have a technical name, because like I would be expecting him to be making like a tornado of metal that's just causes you to have your observation. Yeah, like imagine if you're fighting him, right, and he makes a tornado of metal, and you've just got to have your observation haki being like pumped to the brim to just dodge the attacks before you even think of fighting him.
Yeah.
That would be good to put pressure on someone. What does Kid do? I'm gonna make a big fist and slap you. If that. You know what I mean? It's good, but it's just like, dude, you can do better. You know what I mean? Look, Kid, like I said, you got to think, Gear 4, like, without the haki, is that attack, that giant jet shell that Luffy did against Moria. You know what I mean? Like, I see pre-time skip and post-time skip Kid doing the same thing against Moria that Luffy did. You know what I mean?
Look, what I'm saying is, like, I don't doubt that he's that strong. Like, I don't doubt that he, like, can go up against Big Mom, like at least you know, and then get a power spike, and then eventually, like, I'm not saying he can 1v1 her, but like, you know, he can start fighting her, and maybe he'll get stronger and possibly be able to deal with her a little bit. But like, I'm just saying that, like, while theoretically, like, I understand that he probably could do it, I don't think he's shown that he can do it. Like, I don't think he's actually got the clout.
No,
I think he's just got. Yeah, I don't think he's got the feats. I think he's got all clout and no feats.
See, do you know what I'm wanting Kid to do here? Now that Big Mom's got advanced and advanced conquerors, right?
Yeah.
The best thing for Kid to do in this fight is to start throwing some punches and him getting his shit rocked by Big Mom, and then going, Straw Hat was doing the same thing that you're doing. What the hell is it, and how do I do it? I want Big Mom to throw a punch with Rio at Kid, and Kid to block with his metal arm, because it wouldn't hurt him, you know what I mean? Because he doesn't have an arm anymore. I want to see him blocking, using that metal arm to block, while he's trying to practice Rio punches with his human hand. And then eventually figure out how to do it, or eventually figure out how to do the Conqueror's Punch or whatever, right? And then trying to incorporate it with his fruit. And I want to see Kid having an absolute slugfest and just trying to actually, like, learn something. Because right now, his fruit seems like it's carried him all the way here. And his fruit, like, magnetism in a lot of other series would be, like, a god tier ability. In this show, it's just kind of like,
Metal is kind of meh.
Luffy's shattering metal pre-time skip beginning of the series.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Picker. He literally could control stone at will. and go into the stone to hide in it, and the entire island was made of stone, and he still got wrecked.
Yeah.
Like he didn't like Luffy was literally just like running through a stone mansion and just dodging and breaking the stone pillars that Picker was trying to attack him with. Like I don't know. Like substances, I feel like in One Piece just aren't very strong because everyone is so physically ridiculous.
People are stronger than any material. It's weird. Okay, so Big Mom with advanced conquerors and armament. Does this change how you sort of rank the Yonko?
I mean, no.
Because low key, I sort of think because Big Mom can do this, I kind of expect all the Yonko to do this now. Is that bad?
Well, I mean, who else are we talking about? Blackbeard?
I was just like, we know Shanks would have this, but it's like, okay, advanced Rio. Kaido probably should have advanced Rio now. Both of them had advanced Conquerors, right? We know Whitebeard had the same thing. Blackbeard maybe doesn't have it, but like, whatever. Does this mean since she's got the Rio here though, like since we know Big Mom knows it now, right? Does that sort of make Katakuri potentially have it when we saw Luffy hurting his hand, punching Katakuri's hand?
I don't think he has it intentionally.
No?
I think he just kind of has it when he tries really hard. He can just kind of like use a bit of Conquerors in his punch, but I don't necessarily think he's just like actively.
I didn't even think that would be Conquerors. I was just looking at that as Rio. Just like not the no contact Rio, but just like both of you clashing fists and it's a little bit of
not Rio.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, because I think you can, because you have Conqueror's Haki and you're armoring up your hand, I think you can kind of just accidentally sort of put some Conquerors into your punch.
I mean, it makes sense.
I don't think it was Rio, because I mean, like, yeah, I just don't think it was.
And
by the way, I wanted to point out, wouldn't Hyogoro have it? Because when we saw him do it, he did the full-blown not touching you punching thing. And when Luffy was trying to learn it, back when he was in like the prison trying to learn it against like the sheets of metal, he kept saying like not it, not it, not it when he was doing it. And then you saw him punch the tree and you thought he had it. But then when he's fighting Kaido, when he learns the Conqueror's Haki, he goes,
nah.
Oh, all those times it wasn't it.
Yeah,
he flashes back to the idea of letting it flow through your hand, and then suddenly he's like, oh, that's it, I finally figured it out. So it seems like what Hyogoro was doing was specifically Conqueror's Rio.
No. How I see it is Luffy saw Rayleigh use advanced Rio, right? That advanced Rio, I think, was a form of Conquerors, or like Rio and Conquerors, right? Where he just took out that elephant completely, right? Like I reckon. Oh, yeah. Maybe not. Sorry, but like I think what Rayleigh did was really advanced. Luffy went to Hyogoro and was like, Hyogoro, dude, what's this? Teach it to me. Hyogoro doesn't have Conquerors, but he can teach the Rio. He was using it defensively, not offensively, right? So Luffy took that concept and applied it and learnt that destruction Rio, which is the offensive Rio, which is what destroyed the tree. But it still wasn't necessarily what Rayleigh was doing, which is what he was trying to emulate by getting Hyogoro to teach him.
What I'm saying is that we saw Hyogoro punch something without touching it.
Well, he did it defensively, whereas like I think. Hang on a second. Let's go back to last chapter. We'll look up the panel. This will be the last thing before we wrap up the stream as well, because I've got to get going this afternoon. But let's do this. 10:10. Where did we go? It was 10:10, right? Yes.
Last chapter, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Luffy. I'm definitely gonna send you flying. Coating yourself in Haki should allow you to devastate your opponent from the inside. Stop forcing it and just let the Haki flow into your fist. All the attacks I tried, they're still not it. I think that's implying as in, like, Luffy learnt the concept from Hyogoro, but even with that, it's not hurting Kaido like a normal person, you know what I mean? Like, Rio lets you hurt Kaido, but it's still useless if you're not strong enough. So I think he's like, I think he's internalizing there. It's like, I learned this new technique, and it's still not good enough. It's still not what I need. It's still not it. He's thinking about Hyogoro, and he's like, in the midst of danger, that power truly blossoms. And he's thinking about Haki blooming. And then he's thinking about Kaido, and he's like, when you one-shot me, why did I get one-shot? I think I've got it now. You were using Conquerors on that attack. And then Kaido's like, pretty much acknowledges it. So then Luffy goes, I'm going to use this concept I've used for Armament Haki on my Conqueror's Haki as well. And try and just let it flow out of me. Which is what the coding of Conquerors is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it goes from him going, I need to use my Armament Haki to flow out of me, to, well, can I let my Conqueror's Haki flow out of me as well? In tandem with the armament. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So I don't think it's that Hyogoro had Conquerors. Because Hyogoro, to me, just had armament. Although, if he does have Conquerors, do you know what? Good on him. But, yeah. But I think he's taking three, like, there's like a flashback within a flashback sort of thing, and like 3 different contexts here that Luffy's piecing together. Because he's piecing together a puzzle that we didn't even know we had. Because, like, before that, we didn't know Kaido was using Conquerors on a club, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Luffy's the one that pieced that together, even though we should have, like, the dramatic irony of knowing beforehand. So he's like, he's seen what Rayleigh did, and he's like, that was heaps advanced. He's learnt the technique from Hyogoro, applied the technique, and it's like, it's good, but it's still not doing that same sort of, like Rayleigh seems so much stronger with it. I know I've only just learnt it, but it seems like there's more to it, and Kaido one-shot me, and he didn't one-shot me using that, so I don't understand what it is that's, like, happening here. And then he sort of pieced it together going, well, maybe it's not the Armament Haki, maybe it's the Conqueror's Haki. And then Kaido essentially acknowledges it. Luffy tries it, and then Luffy starts, like, putting some work in on Kaido, and he's like, that's it. I've got it now. You know what I mean?
And I mean, like, I imagine that you can kind of feel when someone's using Conquerors against you.
Yeah.
Because it, like, basically attempts to knock you out, right? Like, I imagine getting hit by it, you can kind of feel the effect of it, and you can kind of put the points together.
This raises another weird question for me, and I've got to make this quick before we leave. But Kid has Conqueror's Haki, which was confirmed through Kaido. So in what situation did Kid use Conquerors against Kaido? And how did it affect? Is it that Kaido knew he had Conquerors because he hit him with the club and he did the same thing that Luffy did? Or is it sort of like, if you hit someone with Conquerors, you can almost gauge if they've got Conquerors or not? You know what I mean?
I think that's the case, because I think that's basically just like Luffy versus Dofi, right? They kick together and then the Black Lightning comes out and you're like, oh, they both have Conquerors.
Yeah.
You can sort of tell. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Kid just got blitzed by Kaido when they were fighting, even though we were told Kid and Killer fought until they collapsed. So maybe they were, like, trying a few different moves in that before Kaido started getting serious. But there might have been something similar where Kaido did the Thunder Bugger to Kid to take Kid and Killer out. And, like, it let off the same Black Lightning effect, which made, like, you know when Luffy got hit, how it was like a little spark of the Conqueror's Haki, whereas we might not see it every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might have been like,
I think them just saying that he, like, fought until his collapse. I don't know if they're trying to imply that they fought for a long time. I think they're just saying, like, they didn't give up, essentially. Yeah. They just kept fighting until they got beat, which is fair.
This just keeps making Shanks look better and better, though, don't it?
Well, I don't know. I think Big Mom using this makes Shanks look worse, because I think, like, now, what else is Shanks going to have? Because Shanks doesn't have Hera. He doesn't have Prometheus.
True. But...
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's questionable, to say the least. That being said, we'll probably call it there. Might do another stream through the week, yeah? We've been going for an hour 20. So, thank you for anyone coming by, alright? much appreciated. Don't forget to like and share the discussion. All right. Let me know what you thought of the chapter in the comments down below. Join the Discord if you ever want to talk anything anime and manga related. It is always appreciated, and we are always here and happy to talk. And we're trying to grow that community to ask more One Piece related questions and other stories and stuff like that, and just like gauge out with the community. All right. This was a great chapter. I still don't know how I feel about Big Mom having Advanced Conquerors and Rio, considering we just got through talking how maybe Kaido's got offensive Conquerors and Big Mom's got defensive Conquerors with her Iron Shield. And then that's just like immediately like, well, nah, that's not the equalizer. Screw you. But hey, it is what it is. Alright. Thank you for anyone that dropped by. Peace and have a good one. Nothing but love. Nothing but respect. Bye-bye.